The Hoysala Empire was a prominent southern Indian Kannadiga empire that ruled most of the modern-day state of Karnataka between the 10th and the 14th centuries. The capital of the Hoysalas was initially located at Belur but was later moved to Halebiju. The Hoysala rulers were originally from Malnad, Karnataka, an elevated region in the western Ghats range. In the 12th century, taking advantage of the internecine warfare between the then-ruling Western Chalukyas and Kalashuri kingdoms, they annexed areas of present-day Karnataka and the fertile areas north of the Kaveri River Delta in present-day Tamil Nadu. By the 13th century, they governed most of present-day Karnataka, minor parts of Tamil Nadu and parts of western Andhra Pradesh and Telangana in Deccan India. The Hoysala era was an important period in the development of art, architecture, and religion in South India. The empire is remembered today primarily for its temple architecture. Over 100 surviving temples are scattered across Karnataka. Well-known temples, which exhibit an amazing display of sculptural exuberance, include the Chennakesava Temple at Belur, the Hoysalaswara Temple at Halebiju, and the Kesava Temple at Somanathapura. The Hoysala rulers also patronized the fine arts, encouraging literature to flourish in Kannada and Sanskrit. History. Kannada folklore tells a tale of a young Mansala, who saved his giant guru Sudita by striking dead a lion he encountered near the temple of the goddess Vasantika at Hangadi, now called Sosavuru. The word strike literally translates to hoy in Hale Kannada, hence the name of Hoysala. This legend first appeared in the Belur inscription of Vishnuvardhana, but owing to several inconsistencies in the Sala story it remains in the realm of folklore. The legend may have come into existence or gained popularity after King Vishnuvardhana's victory over the Koles at Talakad, as the Hoysala emblem depicts the fight between the mythical warrior Sala and a tiger, the tiger being the emblem of the Koles. Early inscriptions, dated 1078 and 1090, have implied that the Hoysalas were descendants of the Yadava by referring to the Yadava Vamsa as Hoysala Vamsa, but there are no early records directly linking the Hoysalas to the Yadavas of North India. Historians refer to the founders of the dynasty as natives of Malnad, Karnataka, based on numerous inscriptions calling them Mallepara Olganda or Lord of the Male Chiefs. This title in the Kannada language was proudly used by the Hoysala kings as their royal signature in their inscriptions. Literary sources from that time in Kannada and Sanskrit have also helped confirm they were natives of the region known today as Karnataka. The first Hoysala family record is dated 950 and names Arikala as the chieftain, followed by Marugara and Nripa Kamarai. The next ruler, Munda, was succeeded by Nripa Kama II, who held such titles as Permanadi that show an early alliance with the Western Ganga dynasty. From these modest beginnings, the Hoysala dynasty began its transformation into a strong subordinate of the Western Chalukyas. Through Vishnuvardhana's expansive military conquests, the Hoysalas achieved the status of a real kingdom for the first time. He wrested Gangavadi from the Koles in 1116 and moved the capital from Belur to Halebiju. Vishnuvardhana's ambition of creating an independent empire was fulfilled by his grandson Veerabalala II, who freed the Hoysalas from subordination in 1187 to 1193. Thus the Hoysalas began as subordinates of the Western Chalukyas and gradually established their own empire in Karnataka with such strong Hoysala kings as Vishnuvardhana, Veerabalala II and later Veerabalala III. During this time, peninsular India saw a four-way struggle for hegemony, Pandya, Kakatiya and Senar Yadavas of Devagiri being the other kingdoms. Veerabalala II defeated the aggressive Pandya when they invaded the Chola kingdom. He assumed the title, establisher of the Chola kingdom, Emperor of the South, and Hoysala Emperor. He founded the city of Bangalore according to Kannada folklore. The Hoysalas extended their foothold in areas known today as Tamil Nadu around 1225, making the city of Kannur near Srirangam a provincial capital and giving them control over South Indian politics that began a period of Hoysala hegemony in the southern Deccan. Vira Narasimha II's son Vira Samshwara earned the honorific uncle from the Pandyas and Koles. The Hoysala influence spread over Pandya kingdom also. Toward the end of the 13th century, Veerabalala III recaptured territory in the Tamil country which had been lost to the Pandya uprising, thus uniting the northern and southern portions of the kingdom. Major political changes were taking place in the Deccan region in the early 14th century when significant areas of northern India were under Muslim rule. Alauddin Khilji, the Sultan of Delhi, was determined to bring South India under his domain and sent his commander, Malik Kafur, on a southern expedition to plunder the CNR capital Devagiri in 1311. The CNR Empire was subjugated by 1318 and the Hoysala capital Hail Biju was sacked twice, in 1311 and 1327. By 1336, the Sultan had conquered the Pandyas of Madurai, the Kakatiyas of Warangal and the tiny kingdom of Kampili. The Hoysalas were the only remaining Hindu empire who resisted the invading armies. Veerabalala III stationed himself at Tiruvannamalai and offered stiff resistance to invasions from the north and the Sultanate of Madurai to the south. Then, after nearly 3 decades of resistance, Veerabalala III was killed at the Battle of Madurai in 1343, and the sovereign territories of the Hoysala Empire were merged with the areas administered by Harihara I in the Tungabhadra region. This new Hindu kingdom resisted the northern invasions and would later prosper and come to be known as the Vijayanagara Empire. Economy. The Hoysala administration supported itself through revenues from an agrarian economy. The kings gave grants of land as rewards for service to beneficiaries who then became landlords to tenants producing agricultural goods and forest products. There were 2 types of landlords. Gavunda of people was lower in status than the wealthy lord of Gavundis. The highlands with its temperate climate was suitable for raising cattle and the planting of orchards and spices. Paddy and corn were staple crops in the tropical plains. The Hoysalas collected taxes on irrigation systems including tanks, reservoirs with sluices, canals and wells which were built and maintained at the expense of local villages. Irrigation tanks such as Vishnu Sagara, Shanti Sagara, Balalaya Sagara were created at the expense of the state. Importing horses for use as general transportation and in army cavalries of Indian kingdoms was a flourishing business on the western seaboard. The forests were harvested for rich wood such as teak which was exported through ports located in the area of present-day Kerala. Song dynasty records from China mention the presence of Indian merchants in ports of South China, indicating active trade with overseas kingdoms. South India exported textiles, spices, medicinal plants, precious stones, pottery, salt made from salt pans, jewels, gold, ivory, rhino, horn, ebony, aloe wood, perfumes, sandalwood, camphor and condiments to China, Dhofar, Aden, and Saraf. Architects, sculptors, quarry workers, goldsmiths and other skilled craftsmen whose trade directly or indirectly related to temple construction were also prosperous due to the vigorous temple building activities. The village assembly was responsible for collecting government land taxes. Land revenue was called Sadaya and included the original assessment plus various cesses. Taxes were levied on professions, marriages, goods in transit on chariots or carriages, and domesticated animals. Taxes on commodities as well as produce are noted in village records. The village assembly could levy a tax for a specific purpose such as construction of a water tank. Administration. In its administrative practices, The Hoysala Empire followed some of the well-established and proven methods of its predecessors, covering administrative functions such as cabinet, organization and command, the structure of local governing bodies and the division of territory. Records show the names of many high-ranking positions reporting directly to the king. Senior ministers were called Pancha Pradhanas. Ministers responsible for foreign affairs were designated Sandhuvigrahi and the chief treasurer was Mahabandari or Hiranyabandari. Dandanayakas were in charge of armies and the chief justice of the Hoysala court was the Dharmadekari. The kingdom was divided into provinces named Nadu, Vishaya, Kampana and Dashur, listed in descending order of geographical size. Each province had a local governing body consisting of a minister and a treasurer that reported to the ruler of that province. Under this local ruler were officials called Hegadis and Gavundis who hired and supervised the local farmers and laborers recruited to till the land. Subordinate ruling clans such as Alupar continued to govern their respective territories while following the policies set by the empire. An elite and well-trained force of bodyguards known as Garudas protected the members of the royal family at all times. These servants moved closely yet inconspicuously by the side of their master, their loyalty being so complete that they committed suicide after his death. Hero stones erected in memory of these bodyguards are called Garuda pillars. The Garuda pillar at the Hoysalaswara temple in Halebija was erected in honor of Kuvara Lakshma, a minister and bodyguard of King Veerabalala II. King Vishnuvardhana's coins had the legends, Victor at Nolambavadi, Victor at Talakad, chief of the Malipar, brave of Malepa, in Hoysala-style Kannada script. Their gold coin was called Honu or Gadyana and weighed 62 grains of gold. Panna or Hana was a tenth of the Honu, Haga was a fourth of the Panna and Visa was fourth of Haga. There were other coins called Bel and Kani.